that I've stood up in church when my priest from the pulpit has misrepresented facts. I have no problem standing up. When SURF was here back in December, I did express my dissatisfaction with the scathing email that was sent out the day after we appointed Franklin Walker, that next day. And we were told at that meeting that was a way of what did he tell us? That was a way of engaging, inviting us. He used the word inviting us in dialogue, and I couldn't agree with that. What it did was engender distrust. We were also told on Friday, January 13th, that a highly skilled professional was coming in our district, effective January 12th, and Carol, Lester, and I, at that meeting, told them how insulted we felt that we were finally taking our district back. We had appointed an interim superintendent, and we weren't even given the opportunity to see what the interim superintendent could do. So I don't have a problem with standing up. I don't have a problem with standing up to the state now. Excuse me? All right, well that's good, because as people have said tonight, we need to be standing together. And I want to make an amendment to our agenda that once we take this vote tonight, that we instruct our special counsel to send a letter to the acting commissioner, of education tomorrow, saying that once we have negotiated a contract and have an effective date for a new superintendent, that a highly skilled professional's contract should be terminated. That's what I'd like us to do tonight. I don't understand why the public would think that we would want the state here. We need local control. We need to get control back to run this district, because even though the state has been here and it has been local, it's been, there's one thing I have to say, because I said to you at the last meeting, this has been very difficult because Franklin Walker is a friend. He has been a friend for over 10 years. He is someone that I speak to when I have questions, when I want answered about what's going on in this district and what's going on in education in general. We interviewed Franklin, and when I did not support him, I was the first one to call him and tell him why. But if I had supported him, I'd have no problem going to the state to say, this is our man, this is what we want to do. But Franklin Walker should have been superintendent a long time ago. He really should have. But this community, the politicians in this community, and many of you in this room chose to support an administration that would not allow talent to rise to the top. And that is true. Because Franklin Walker has been in this district for a long time, and he should have been given the opportunity to be superintendent before now. In coming to my decision, I looked at our criteria. I took our criteria very seriously. And a year ago, I probably would have thought that Franklin Walker should have been one of the front runners. But after getting elected to this board, my perspective changed for two reasons. One, because I saw just how broken this board, not the board, I'm sorry, this district, well, the board too, to some extent, this district was at the time, and how much it was going to take to be able not to give our kids a thorough and efficient education, because that's the minimum. That's what the Constitution says, and if that's what we strive for, we will never give these kids what they need. We need to be giving these kids a world-class education. That's the only way they are going to be able to compete in the world they're going to have to compete in. And I looked at Franklin Walker, and I looked at the other candidates, and yes, Franklin has accomplishments in this district with regard to raising the achievement gap. But when I looked at what these other women had done, what they had accomplished in New York City and in their respective districts, I really felt very strong that the best scenario for this district, for the children of this district, to get the student outcomes that we wanted to get, was to have Franklin Walker, the talent that we have in this district, and some talent from outside. I had the opportunity to speak with urban districts who have been successful with changing the landscape of their education and their student outcomes, who have been successful with raising their graduation rates. And they did national searches, and they brought in outside talent. And I really believe that this is what this district needed. We need to have some outside talent along with that talent that was here. I did not make up my mind with respect to which candidate I supported until last Friday. Until last Friday, I was on the fence. And after being with them during the day touring, after seeing how they responded during the surveys, and more importantly, the most important part of my deliberations and why I made the decision I made was because I was told that one of these candidates was a better fit for this district and brought more to the table of what we needed.
Who told you that?
I'm not able to tell you who told you that because I'm going to respect his wishes. And if he chooses, he can, but I'm going to respect his wishes and not tell you. But that's when I made up my mind. Because we do need changes in this district, and we do need more talent if we are going to give these kids the best education we can possibly give them. And we have to start dealing with the real issues. We really do. I have sat here for all this time and hear people come up here talking about they care about the kids in this district, and that's not what happens behind closed doors. It's not what happens behind closed doors. Part of our requirements as elected officials is that we have to read union contracts. And I read the union contract, the teacher's contract in particular, and I was very surprised in that contract that the word child only shows up twice in their contract. The contract that I did not get, though, is the contract that supports the union leadership at 6 figures a year for them to come to us and point their finger at us and tell us that what we're not doing as a board when they're yelling about things for which we had no responsibility. And the people, the person, the administration that had the responsibility for that are the ones that they go out and have meetings with at 11:30 at night. For what, I don't know, but we need to get down to the real issues. We really need to get down to what this district needs to bring our kids to where they need to be. We need to work with our union. We need to work with the NAACP. You guys have come forward tonight and raised some issues, and you stepped up and did that. I was glad to hear that. But in the past, you've come to this board and you have challenged us as far as representing parents, and you've had a concern with that. I'd like to get the facts out tonight that we have parents on this board. Said Gita has 2 children, one in the district, one's going to come in. Vidya has 4 children in the district. Angel has 1 who just graduated. I have 1 who was in the district. Marvin has 1 who's coming in the district in September. Sterling has 1 in the district. And Carol is another story, and Marilyn was an educator in the story, and was an educator. I invite, and Sue had 1 that was in the district. Thank you. I invite the NAACP to come with us and find a way that we always have a parent on this board who represents children's interests. Because in 3 years, there could be no one on this board with a child in the district if that's how the election goes. And I really hope that we can begin a dialogue where the NAACP can join us to do some educational reform to make sure that parents have a voice on this board. We have to come together. People have said it tonight, we have to be one. The only way we're going to get local control is if we stand as one, as an administration, as a board, as a community, with our public officials, so that we can prove to the state that we are capable and should be able to run our own district. This has not been an easy time. It may not be an easy time. I heard the politicians say last week that the problem with bringing in an outsider is that they can't hit the ground and run. Yeah, they can hit the ground and run, particularly if they have experience and a track record of hitting the ground and running. But if there is resistance, if there are obstacles from our politicians, from our administration, from the board, they will not be able to be successful. And we need to make sure that this new superintendent will be successful in bringing the outcomes that we need for this district. Dr. Lyles is a remarkable woman. Yeah, you, whatever. Dr. Lyles is a remarkable woman. She told us, she shared with us during the interview that her mother, we go back, she said she understood the families whose parents do not come up to school because she was one of those students. Because her mother had her at 14 years old and was home dying of cancer. Her mother died when she was 10 years old. Dr. Lyles herself is a teenage mother. She had her first son at 17. And with her background, with being a teenage mother, she was able to still get, you may not care, Ms. Perry, but maybe someone, you may not care, Ms. Perry, but maybe someone else does. She was able to, because of the importance of education in her life, get her degree,
Please let Ms. Harrison Arnold finish.
No,
got
she's
a
lying.
degree.
She's lying.
I do not lie. I do not whisper.
You told me you don't listen to us who come out here as the vocal minority because you have a big constituent that you have to listen to. So what does all this have to do about her who listen to people who don't have parents that represent? You don't even respect that.
What I said to you, Ms. Perry, is that I have constituents beyond the people that come to these meetings. I have people who talk to me on the street. I have people who send me emails. And that, well, you think I lied about that. You don't remember our conversation. But Dr. Lyles received degrees from Hunter College, from NYU, and from Columbia. That is a role model for the young women, African-American women of this community. That is a role model for any children of what education can do, what she can achieve. A lot has been made about her background as far as being a Broad candidate. The American Association of School Administrators chose their 2012 National Superintendent of the Year. His name is Heath Morrison. He was, at the time I met him at CUBE, which is a Council of Urban Boards of Education, he was the superintendent of the Washoe District in Nevada. 65,000 students, and he was able in that district to raise graduation rates in 2 years from 56% to 70%. The American Association of School Administrators chose him as their National Superintendent of the Year for 2012, and he is a Broad Academy graduate. Now, that organization that stands up for public education can choose someone who has this background, then everyone who has this background is not about the Broad philosophy that we are so fearful of, changing public education. We have to start making the changes in this district. We have to bring the right leadership. We have to work together. And I believe Dr. Lyles is the person to do that, based on what she has done in her track record. And many of you have questioned her situation in Delaware. She is leaving Delaware because she chose to do what was right by the students in that district. She supported students who had not been supported, who historically had not been supported. And I was told this by the president of the Christina School Board District, our counterpart, someone who also did not want a Broad candidate in his district. But he told me that she is not typical Broad. That is not who she is, and she is about the kids first. And what we need is someone who's going to come in this district and add to the talent that is here to change the outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol?